as you start investing more time um, to the things that are more important to you, you're going to find that the world responds. I can't prove this, but as somebody who's been investing the last 6 years, pretty much every weekend I can playing volleyball at the beach and still been growing my business. And as I've gotten to this 3 day weekend lifestyle where my clients are now used to the fact that I don't work Fridays, I might check email here and there, but I'm not working. I'm enjoying the weekend, and it's attracted a certain type of person. A couple people today have talked about, finding your tribe, the people that you resonate with, the people that you vibe with, however you want to word that. And so, the same way we've looked at before, it's guess what? I copied and pasted the ideas and the colors and changed the names. It's the same concept. Some of the things you do are fun. Some of the things are really just very bad as far as they feel bad. And again, sometimes I use the word bad. I don't mean like morally bad, but just things that aren't that fun. And some areas where you're wasting your time. And so we've kind of been doing this, but in this one, this is a very simple conversation because time is the same for everybody. You've probably heard it said a lot of times. Everybody, whether it's Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Ariana Huffington, Oprah, uh, President of the United States, world leaders, whoever it is, we all have the same number of hours in a week, and what do we do with them? And so, somewhere in this conversation is the idea of dropping and adding. And really, all it is identify what you like doing, confirm what you don't like doing, and replace what you don't like with what you like. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Um, it's really that simple. And so, more of the process comes down to looking at where are you investing your time, and are these things that you feel are fun for you? Are they things where you feel like you wasted your time? Or are you not enjoying yourself? And that's what I meant by bad time. Like you're having a bad time, you're not enjoying it. And so these are things that in the exercise, I'm going to suggest that one of the first things you're going to do is start looking at those things and then deciding what activities you're going to change. So, for example, going back real quick here, actually went a little fast there. Certain things you're going to say, yeah, I just enjoy doing that, and that's great, and I do it X number of hours a week. I'm feeling when I'm doing this thing, I feel like it's wasted. Now, to be really clear here, this might be something where you say, look, Wade, this is with people I enjoy. Um, I like doing these things, but it really maybe I could do different things with the same person because I value the relationship, but I don't want necessarily spend more time doing that sort of activity. And then the things that are simply not good, and looking at what could you make in the next either 12 weeks or 12 months as a shift. So the activity to change could be to say, okay, I currently do this activity a certain number of hours per week. I'd like to do it these certain number of hours per week. And so there's going to be a change there. There's going to be a change in the hours invested. And here's where I'm going to reinvest these hours. And here's my target date. So a lot of this can be very simple. It does not need to be very complex. It can be something that's really easy to go with, sort of understandable, or it can be something that you don't do or you make complex. I'm going to suggest that, again, the writing out of this is something that's going to help you get clear on this. Holly mentioned, I've decided to start changing my weekends. This is probably one of the things that in some ways is so interesting about this particular conversation. It's a decision. You know how to change your calendar. I know how to change my calendar. The only question is, are you going to? And so that's where the majority of this work is done around looking at what is it that we're really looking to do. So Holly talked about doing what you're passionate about. And she didn't just say, do what you love and the money's going to follow without you doing work and you're going to go eat a sandwich. She said, no, do what you're loving or find that or look for that, but work hard in the process, be excellent. Her commitment to competence, I think, is so huge. And so whatever you're going to do it well, and then look to bring that with you. So I think that's something that as you look at your time investments to say, what is it that's going to shift? What could that look like? And look to at least aim for something that's better. Doesn't mean you're not happy with where you are. But here's a few things that can help with that. One is you can live longer. You're going to enjoy more fun times because you're going to have more time to enjoy yourself and hopefully with better health. If you work less, and sometimes that comes from spending less, sometimes, especially if you're either in an entrepreneurial situation or a freelancer, or just even big picture, when you spend less, You don't have to work as much. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't buy anything. But at the same time, every time you buy something you don't need, you then have to do the work to earn the money to do that. So there's a book I'd referenced earlier called Put Your Money Where Your Soul Is. And this is a book I wrote quite a long time ago, but it's still out there, still doing well. And a lot of the concepts in it that I'd learned and from just different mentors I'd worked with was about investing my time in the relationships and in the people and in the things and the expenses that are most important to me. And so again, anytime if you buy $100 item that you didn't want, and let's say after taxes you make 20 bucks an hour, well then you got to work 5 hours. You've just traded 5 hours of your time for that thing you didn't want. So getting really clear about how you invest your time and making sure it's in the things that you want. And then also on the flip side, connecting it to the money piece of not making those investments that are going to compromise your time. Turning your work into your vocation. Now, this is where it depends. Your work might be your vocation. Your vocation might or might not be your passion. There's the idea of service. Again, Holly mentioned she's looking, where can you be of service? Not just, what do you like to do? Well, I like to eat bonbons. So somebody's going to pay me to eat bonbons. Nope, probably not. Maybe there's one or two people that get paid to eat bonbons. So good for them. That job is probably already taken. There's probably a lot of people competing for it. So can you turn it into something that you're more passionate about? I'm very passionate about this work. Sometimes I've had a few friends say, Wade, let me get this straight. You're investing a day to 2 days a week to help people work in a way where they can have a 3-day weekend, and you make the majority of your income in about 2 days a week. Why don't you just take the rest of the days off? Interesting question, because I feel inspired by this. I also eventually do want to have this become something that's more of an income source. But it's funny when you listen to Chris Kermitzos talk about his path and what he's doing. You listen to Holly talk about where she's going. You listen to Juliana. You get this sort of sense of confidence that comes from, okay, I'll figure it out. Okay, what is going to happen? And so turning your work into vocation can be something that can be very powerful. And it can be something that evolves if you're open to seeing what that could look like. I did not think I was going to be teaching people how to make more money in less time doing what they do best so they can better enjoy their family, friends, and life. That wasn't on my radar. And yet that's something I now do. And from what I've seen, and I keep pictures of people, I got to update some of these that have done work with me, and I've been able to help them. And they've shared with me that, yeah, this is really important. And I don't always get the feedback, but that motivates me. That's really huge. Wasting less time. This is going to be a tough one. If you're working really hard, you want some downtime. Sometimes I just want to veg in front of the TV and watch Netflix or play a video game. But again, you're going to see a common thread of the people in here today, that there are people that invest their time in growth and in learning and becoming better at what they do and in sharing their gifts and investing with other people. Reduce your obligations, definitely. Rebecca talked about reducing your physical obligations, decluttering the things you don't need. And then also the commitments where you're just not really into it. It's not something you're passionate about. It's not something you want to be doing. Can you take that and turn that into something that you either shift or do something different? Chris mentioned how he's going to be growing Podfest, and some of the pieces that he does, it's best for the organization to grow and for him to be out of certain things. And then definitely, and this is the part we're going to go into right now in depth here, changing your weekly habits and schedules. So we did talk about that first part of doing the drop and add. But basically what it looks like is looking at your current situation and saying, okay, here's how I'm investing my time. Now you can do this to whatever level of depth you want. Some people do this by hours. Some people would do it by half hours. Sometimes people just say, I do 2 or 3 things. I have morning, afternoon, evening. Real simple. Here's what I do in the morning. Here's what I do in the afternoon. Here's what I do in the evening. But the reason I'm using the specific view is if you get clear of exactly what you'd like your schedule to be like. And this is the part where I'm going to suggest you get precise. If you want to call this daydreaming, great. If you want to call this being specific, great. If you want to call this asking for what you want from God, the universe, from whatever it is, great. If you want to call this self-fulfilling prophecy, great. If you want to call this affirmations, whatever you want to call it, get really precise about what you'd love to see happen. Not demanding, not whiny, not entitled, not I'm a victim if I don't get it, not why do they have it and why don't I, but get clear about what you want in that schedule. Be willing to do work to make it happen, and then start looking at, based off of your current schedule, again, what would be your desired schedule? I might have said desired on the last screen. So look at your current schedule, what it's like, then your desired schedule, and then going forward, just looking at over a certain number of weeks, what shifts do you make? So let's say there were 12 changes you wanted to make in your schedule. Let's say you go to your red schedule here and you put it in as clear as you can, and you go to your green schedule and 12 of the boxes are different. Okay. So 1 month, once a month, change one of those boxes. And in a year, your schedule will be what you want. And again, there might be different things. It might be more boxes, or you might choose two a month to change. But just start making the change. And this is the part. This goes back to that consistency, the persistence. Yeah, gosh, I just so love what Holly talked about of making that connection between her effort and the results, getting her excited to take effort and take action. Um, and so I encourage you, this is something, as you start creating more time to do the things you want to do, it's a positive feedback loop. You're going to enjoy this more. You're going to want to do this. And then you can just map out in between the steps that help you get there. It does not have to be at a certain pace. It can happen more slowly. It can happen more quickly, but it can be something where if you do that work over time, it's going to allow you to make that happen. And so, as with the other areas, if we look at what this could look like from a mastery standpoint, optimizing your life can be a few things going on. Number one, getting enough sleep to be happy, energetic, and wake up without an alarm. Now, 8 to 9 hours, you might need more than that or less than that, depending on your situation. But I love that criteria. I read it in a book years ago. I forget which book it was, about when you're in tune with your natural rhythms and you simply wake up, and you might still set your alarm because you have obligations and, okay, wait, I need to be up at a certain time. But kind of like Kramer from Seinfeld, you set your mental your alarm clock, and stuff works. Actually, it's kind of crazy. Set the attention. Okay, I'm going to wake up at a certain time, and that's when I'm going to do that. And it might not happen right away. Still use your alarm clock, but be willing to do that and look at, again, do you want to do this? Is there a target date, and how's that progressing? And again, I'm going to give you 10 ideas here. You can create your own ideas. 30 minutes a day for, if you do this, prayer or meditation or whatever your spiritual practice is, if you have one, if you want that. 30 minutes a day for yoga, exercise, physical activity, cardio, CrossFit, Orange Theory, whatever it is that you enjoy. 30 minutes a day for personal relaxation and enjoyment. You can start saying, wait, that's a lot of 30 minutes a day. Yes, about looking at the other parts of your dimensions as a human being, not just your physical, your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, your relationships, all those different 10 dimensions we've been looking at. 30 minutes a day for reading, learning, or listening to an audiobook, music, playing an instrument, something that's either helping you grow or creative. This is definitely, and again, all these are indications that you're living in a level close to mastery. You're doing something that you want to be doing. So you're not going to have this happen right away per se. I mean, you could, but look at what you can do with this to start saying, okay, I'm going to have less than 1 hour of undesirable activity per day. I'm eventually work my way out of that, whatever it is, whether it's doing laundry or doing dishes or dealing with clients I don't want to deal with, whatever it might be. Looking for how you can earn the right to not have to do it. You might have to earn the money to pay somebody to do it. Fine. You might need to drop an activity, whatever that is, but to have it to be where the majority of your time, overwhelmingly, is being spent doing what you love doing. At least 1 day a week with zero chores, errands, work, or obligations. This is one of the coolest things in the world if you give yourself this gift. Yes, we have days. Yes, work all needs to be done. But you know what? We have these things, and if you're in the part of the world similar that I am, with electricity and so on, you might have a fridge. And this is not sent to be sarcastic. There might be people listening that don't. But if you have a fridge, we can make food today and we can eat it tomorrow. We don't have to cook it tomorrow. We can take rest. We can enjoy different things. Having a day a week where you have either zero chores or absolute minimum chores, other than washing the dishes to put them away that you just ate so that the house isn't dirty or whatever it might be, allows you to experience a full sense of recovery. I've talked a lot about this idea of pace, and so much of this is a sense of pace. Look, this week, the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been working 40, 45 hours a week in 4 days, so about 11-hour days, doing something I enjoy, as Holly mentioned, creating an event, but being excited about it, but getting that 3-day weekend, sometimes not being very active, not being very mobile, watching a few more movies than I normally do, but able to get all that time in. It's definitely possible. A less than hour a day of TV, video games, social media, electronic devices. Again, don't have to do that, but that uh, helps you as you create more time in nature. Go be part of that. That's helpful. Time for 3 relaxed meals, 30 minutes or more without pressure or deadlines, and then 60 minutes per day for friends, family, or romance. And again, your exact situation might look slightly different than that, but having the time to have that be part of what you do can be extremely rewarding, very positive, and very easy to make things possible for you.